Welcome back. With me tonight, host of News and Views, Joel Heitkamp. Joel, always great to have you here.
Good to be with you, Chris.
I want to give a quick golf clap, if you will. First time in, I think, 4 years that there's been a presidential budget, a U.S. Senate budget, and a U.S. House budget. Maybe we're getting this thing turned around. Today, Obama's budget hit the public. What does it mean for the Red River Valley?
It means we're still not getting anything done, right? I mean, you already see the Democrats come out against the president's budget because it tightens up and extends out the age for Social Security and Medicare and some of those issues.
Well, it doesn't necessarily tighten up the age. It does this whole CPI thing where you're going to see $650 each year cut to a typical retiree right now.
Well, but here's the truth about Social Security and Medicare that Democrats are very nervous about. They've always been proponents of it. They've always felt that Republicans don't support those programs. And so they safeguard those. But, you know, we live longer. We live longer. And until we're willing to have a debate about that, I got in trouble with Democrats because on my radio show I said, you know, the retirement age needs to be looked at and it needs to be part of this plan as well as Medicare does. That's not popular. And you know what? The closer I get to that age, the less I feel right.
I think means testing, too, needs to get done with this deal. That, you know, you got to save the money, but you don't want grandparents out there that have had issues throughout their lives not being able to put food in their mouth. So here's a couple of things that jumped out to me. $200 billion cuts in farm subsidy, $100 billion cuts in defense spending, plus we still don't know if there's any money in this budget for the diversion.
Right, we don't. We do not. I tried digging into it. You tried digging into it. I think a statement's going to be forthcoming on that. If there is no money in this budget for the diversion, huge hit. And you know there's going to be a lot of fingers pointed to Al Carlson about why did you do this to us? You gave the president the tools he needed to cut this out. You gave the majority party in the House, which is really trying to cut back on the federal budget, the tools they needed to cut this out. You're not going to see Speaker Boehner go to President Obama and say, put the money back in for the Fargo diversion. It's not going to happen.
But I mean, isn't that just political spin? You're trying to tell me that President Obama looked at what Al Carlson said about the amendments to the diversion and said, oh, you know what, maybe we'll leave that money out?
No, I think they truly look at each project individually. How long does it take you to Google anything you want to find out about this? And then you see the local area fighting over it, and they can choose if everybody's doing the kumbaya on a project, okay? Then it's on the weight of the project itself. But if internally they're fighting, it's not good.
But if you're telling me the president waited until February to start putting this budget together, we're in more trouble than I thought.
Well, no, it's worse than that, Chris. I mean, look at how long it's taken to have for the Senate period to have a budget.
Thank you.
I mean, no, I mean, I said that before, and I believe that. It's their job to write and debate and create a budget. The problem is, the Democrats don't agree with Democrats. The Republicans don't agree with Republicans. Can we even govern anymore? I mean, you and your wife have a budget, right?
Yes.
Near as I can tell, we do. It's whatever Sue says. But the point is, you got a budget, you know?
I want to move on. You just mentioned the U.S. Senate. They apparently have come to some deal, a reach on background checks. Will Heidi Heitkamp vote yes on this background check?
I don't know. I really do not know. If my guess is yes, and my advice to her would be yes. That she should vote yes. It's a bipartisan.
To Bloomberg?
No, background checks are not. Bloomberg wants way more. He wants the assault weapons. Bloomberg wants.
But the ad he took out was specifically saying, "Hey, call Heidi Heitkamp's office to ask for universal background checks."
But this background check is not the Bloomberg background check. This allows and it has parts in it in regards to me giving her a shotgun to my grandson someday. It has common sense in it the way we grew up. I don't know what your gun collection has in it. I know that my 1200 Winchester is mine, right? I know that my 870 that my dad bought me when I was in the 8th grade is mine, and someday I hope to give it to my grandson Reed. I mean, so those things, the common sense part of it is in this.
So you don't know what Heidi's going to do?
I don't. But it will not shock me if she supports this.
Wow, I think she's going to get some blowback from North Dakota if she does.
Welcome to life. You're going to get blowback no matter what you do on
There's
guns.
been some changes in the local radio world, obviously talking about you. I want to give you a chance here, a platform to just explain what happened.
Well, here's what happened. K-Fire and KCJB are stations that I used to be on, and who knows? Maybe on again soon. But, you know, there's a lot of phone calls, I know, and a lot of emails going out. People are CCing me on some of that. But, you know, a play was made for that time slot where people actually paid for the time slot. We don't do that. We provide first-rate, top-notch, top-rated programming, and then they go out and have the opportunity to sell it. We're not going to pay them for that time slot because we know other stations will take us. Now, our competitor in this market, let's just say the name, everybody knows, it's Scott Hennon went out and got some big boys together with big checks, and for what I believe are very political reasons, they wrote those checks and they bought the time slot. And Jim Lowe, the manager at Clear Channel out in Bismarck, and the state manager fell for it. Now, Scott Hennon has never produced ratings or revenue no matter where he went. And I know you used to work for him. I'm not taking a cheap shot at you.
And I didn't work for him. I ended up taking his spot. But
Right.
yeah, he has generated revenue. But the problem is he was always
Where's the
spending
revenue?
more
He got fired.
than he was taking in, is the issues I've heard. But I want to move on to one. Speaking of radio,
Maybe an escalator too, huh?
one of your former colleagues had an interesting comment about Fargo and actually kind of included you in this comment. I want to play this clip for you and get your thoughts on it. Go ahead and roll the tape.
Broadcasting from the city that has no bones about asking 8th graders to come down to the facility and start making sandbags so the wealthy people don't have to pay for a dike. Good old Fargo, North Dakota. That's how they flood fight. It's called slave labor. Make them think they're really building character. In fact, they have to build character every spring. The college kids, I think, have figured it out. Screw you. So now they're picking on the 8th graders. Come to work in the morning and listen to local radio. We have openings for volunteers from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I mean, it's just amazing. We're right back.
I think he's talking about you. Listen to local radio.
Maybe me, maybe others.
But your comments on what he said, screw you, slave labor. I mean.
Well, ask any of those people in the 8th grade if they wanted to get out of school that day. Last time I looked, slaves didn't want to be there. What Ed is right on is the fact that raised the question of how we make the sandbags, and I've been raising the question of do we need the sandbags? I think it says a lot about the community that everybody gets together and does this. I don't want to diminish these young people giving of their time. I don't want to do that.
To call that slave labor when these guys are out there saying, hey, this is a chance to give back to the community.
Schultz. You got your attention.
You made me laugh. Eddie, I know you're probably watching this. You made me laugh.
And we're talking. I mean, that's Ed. That's what he's brilliant at and always has been.
Joel, always great to have you here. Looking forward to having you back soon. Stay close. As you may or may not know, April is Autism Month. There's a free event taking place tomorrow night. If you've got a child with autism, this is a chance for you to get educated and find out what you can do to help that son or daughter. That's coming up next. And as always, love your feedback. Go to our website, 630pov.com. Email, text, Twitter, whatever's easiest for you. We'll be right back.